Welcome back to another episode of Kirtie's Corner talk show. Today, we are incredibly honored to have a guest who truly embodies the engagement equation and has been a driving force behind people centric strategies for over 13 years. Joining us is Chaitrali Patekar, the site HR business partner at GKN Aerospace. With a rich background spanning diverse sectors like infrastructure, engineering, and manufacturing, Chaitrali is a true HR powerhouse. Her strengths lies in maximizing potential, strategic thinking, and deep empathy, which have been instrumental in her work. She's a certified engagement champion from Gallup and a recognized leader in her field, having received the Human Resource Excellency and Learning and Development Award from the Times of India. Chaitrali is also celebrated for her impactful contributions to CSR and women's initiatives, demonstrating her commitment to a holistic and inclusive workplace. Today, she's here to share her expertise on how we can all create a more motivated and engaged workforce. Chaitrali, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Kirti, for this wonderful introduction. And it's my pleasure to be here on the talk show today. So, the introduction is already covered by you. I just want to highlight few things that while working in the human resource, first of all, I would describe myself as a people person, and that's what something brings my the human resource expertise into a field. And I completely believe on building the values through the people and working on the great place to work initiatives towards more employee engagement. And yes, just giving some history about my aim towards being into a human resource field. Talking about my personal background, I'm a proper Punekar girl, lived in the heart of Pune city. While living, I exposed to the most diverse culture, people, where my upbringing naturally shaped my people-centric approach. And during my schooling in my family, I have been always seen people are helping each other. So I'm rooted with very empathetic background, and that's something naturally shaped my personality. Just to
Right.
talk about, yeah, my education. So basically, I'm from a science background, the science student, wanted to learn zoology and aim to grow myself into a medical field. However, the life took me on the different path, and the turn come out best for me. I moved into a human resource field. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So while doing my studies, I started working in the back office just as a part-time job, which was just a login and log out job, and
Mm-hmm.
where the employee engagement were pursued as expenditure, you say, or not so important. And while working on the ground level with all other employees, I knew that what are the people requirement in terms of your day to day work, in terms of your employer, and that simply brought me into actions like I acted as a bridge between my people and the management. I started taking some initiatives into a human resource. I started listening out to the people. And that's when something I built my interest that I must work for the people, and I chose the human resource field. So
Fantastic.
yeah, so I completed my MBA into human resource field and doing my strategic uh, planning for my development. So I completed my human resource business partnering from Aon, and currently I'm doing my post graduation diploma in training and development.
Still upgrading yourself.
Yeah, the learning never stops.
Wow.
No.
Absolutely, I totally agree. So, to begin with, thank you so much for giving us that background from HR, from science to HR and the transformation. I'm sure it must have given you a good kick to come and drop something that you have been doing and then come to a different field altogether, right? But I want to, okay, so today's topic, as we all know, is the engagement equation, strategies that drive motivation and performance at organizations.
Right.
So I want to start with playing a devil's advocate for a moment.
Yeah.
In today's competitive landscape, yeah, some might view investing in employee engagement as merely an expense, as you rightly mentioned just now.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to understand, why should organizations truly invest in their people, if at all they should? Isn't it just a cost center?
Hmm, that's interesting question. I love this question, by the way. Let's make it so simple. Being a parent, so we invest a lot on our children, right? In terms of it is called as a long-term investment. We wanted our children to grow with the right values, with the confidence and capability to carry a family legacy forward. And that's not
Right.
something we are doing with some planning. That's what something we wanted to do. The employee engagement comes with a simple equation, like you invest on the people. It's not something like expenditure, but it is more on like investment, building the future talent force for your organization, for the country. And that's when the commitment and the long term value it comes into picture. I see engagement as one of the most smartest investment in today's world. When you see the people are engaged about their work, they don't see their
Mm-hmm.
employee id. It's not login and log off job for them. It's something about they care for their work. They
Mm-hmm.
help their teammates, they find meaningful work, they wants to grow. And all these signs are like positive signs of the engagement. But you see the difference when people are feel ignored. It's just the name on the list, they slowly start disconnecting, they isolate themselves, and more than we realize, the loss is big for the organization. So
Right.
engagement is not just a spending money on the people. It's about creating environment where people stay, grow, they feel belongingness, and that's what something I believe into employee engagement.
Wow, I love the statement and the analogy you drew, that don't we invest in our children? So, of course, our employees also become our responsibility, and we must invest in them instead of looking at it as an expense.
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was an eye-opener. And moving forward, we often talk about organizational values, right? But what's the importance of individual values in driving engagement? How do they play a role in someone's motivation and connection to their work?
That's good. I feel that every employee has emotional commitment towards their organization. And I would like to give
Okay.
one example. Let's say Kirti is someone who strongly believes into treating people with respect and care. She loves when leader greet with a smile, when she feel hurt, and when she's been treated with the dignity, and such culture where Kirti really feels emotionally connected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she matters, the human being who matters a lot. That's what something keeps her engaged, loyal, and motivated towards her work. She would show her commitment for the long term with the organization. And whereas you
Hmm.
see, on the other hand, maybe the workplace is not supportive with her personal values, the manager talks rudely, maybe people are blamed for their mistakes, there are no open talks, and there are no checks on the tough times. Then what happens? No matter how good your salary and perks are, how good the company provide the facilities, but it is more
Right.
of like people feel disrespected, people feel disconnected, and over the time they would stop giving their best. They would do in and out job, they would stay for for their salaries, meanwhile they switch to another organization. But the real root is that you must be connected with the employee values. And I have seen in number of organizations the values are like customer centric, focused, and quality driven, and all those are like basic requirement of the industries. But what about the people values? And that's when something the organization plays an important role. Because you see, after COVID, the value propositions of the employees are changed. Earlier it was like more of like, I need the job, and whatever job I get, so I need to fulfill my duties.
Right.
Nowadays the definition has been changed. People have number of factors, people choose their job wisely. looking after the culture, looking after what they get, looking after the work life balance, and all these things comes with the values as well. And
Right.
that's when I believe understanding the employees with their facts, with their feelings, and with their values. Facts, what employee has to do. Feelings, that how they feel into organization while working day to day. And yes, values, what values the people wants to drive. And that's when something organization and the employee both are committed to go further, you know.
Right. So this brings me to a different question altogether. Now, organization as a whole has one set of values, right? And all the employees are expected to abide by those values. However, when it comes to individual, there are n number of people working. How can we
Right.
ensure that we are inclusive and not biased?
Yeah, that's again a good question. So one thing, the people-wise, the engagement factors are different. Let's say you and me both are different. Engagement matters, engagement parameters for you are different. Engagement parameters for me could be different. Similarly, every layer has different set of expectations towards the engagement. If you see in my interim job, so my values and my expectations were different. So my values were to learn and develop myself and have a good position in the organization. When it comes,
Exactly.
yeah, so when it comes to like the people from the interim level, it could be a learning and development. It could be treated with respect and care. It could be my facilities in the organization. Those could be a basic requirement of the engagement. When you come to the next level of professionalism, there you see the people love to enhance their skill. People love
Hmm.
mentorship programs, people love the opportunities, people love challenges, people love to have the growth and development in the organization. So
Right.
value proposition are changed. If you see a senior most level, then it almost different. In the senior level, people they intend more into a business gains, a long term strategies, supportive culture, and the great value propositions for their teammates, for the organization.
Absolutely.
So yes, so value proposition changes with every person, let's say, of employee wise, and that's what something the organization needs to understand the gap, that engagement equation cannot be one for all. It should be different with the people. So
Ah.
the engagement calendar is not the fixed calendar for the year that we need to have certain sets of activities and we need to perform every month or every quarter, but it is to be divided with the audience pool, what audience is really looking for, what my organization need is, and that's when the
Okay.
strategies comes into picture.
So you're saying that it could be in a broad level maybe,
Yeah,
but it could be diverse for diverse sections or levels of people, and we can bucket them and accordingly run the engagement equation. Is what
right,
you're trying to
exactly.
say?
Yes,
Okay. And I'm just thinking out loud, maybe even the direct managers can ensure the individual level of engagement, right? Because for their teams, he's the right point of contact, he or she is the right point of contact, and they should be able to ensure that their values are taken care of. And hand in hand, organization is also taking care of the same thing at different levels. So it could
exactly.
be a combo of both, right? That is what you
Yes,
mean?
yes, and I wanted to make one statement here. For the people, it could be a engagement, could be a wish list. Sky is
Correct.
the limit for your wish list, and
Absolutely.
organization also cannot go hand in hand with every expectations. So it has to be categorized. It has to be strategically planned, where it is supportive to the business, where it is supportive to the organization.
Interesting. Wow. Thank you so much for bringing that up. So I'll move on to the next question. The next question would be, I've heard you emphasize that engagement goes far beyond just fun activities in just your last response. Could you elaborate on that a little more? On how do you see development, for instance, fitting into the broader engagement picture? So what should be the ratio? Because we cannot have the year long, we just doing engagement, you know, There has to be some balance of how much engagement in what quarter, or if an HR or L&D will have to curate an engagement for the employees, what should be the equation?
Yes. So one set, what I understand, the equation is not uh, much elaborative, but it has to be like categorized as per industry requirement. So in the simple way, what I say, the engagement has different factors. One set of like, I would like to explain it more. Like there are number of companies who invest more into a people engagement surveys. So there are a
Right.
lot of questions, set of the questions, there are a lot of answers, and it comes to like engagement action plan. But there is one simple equation: do you feel like coming to the office every day? That every
Wow.
person should ask this question to self, and every organization, as an employer, as a manager, as a business leader, they must ask this question to their team members: do you feel like
Hmm.
coming to the office every day? And that's when you get the simple answer, what really engagement matters for you. And that comes with
Brilliant.
different sets. It could be a basic resource requirement, it could be a team, it could be a manager, it could be a organization level. On the other hand, it could be a development, it could be opportunities, it could be challenges. So there are different point of view on that. But the simple way I would love to explain, like, do you feel like coming to the office every day? If your answer is yes, then you're highly engaged. And answer is no, then what something matters for you? That's something the organization and the people should work for.
Brilliant. I mean, I'm just still processing the response that you said. And so, engagement equation is not about only organizing the activities at work. It could be a business opportunity, it could be anything that would align with their values and value their value,
Right.
right? Wow, okay. And you also mentioned something called people centric.
Hmm.
Now, we are talking about employees and their equation and everything. If I wear an organization hat, like, employer's hat, how does this human centered approach concretely benefit the organization as a whole? Like, I am willing to do whatever you've said right now, but
Hmm.
what's in it for me? Why should I do it actually? And this also goes back to our first question where I wore my devil's advocate hat. And I come back to this question because for me, it is important to understand what's in it for me
Hmm.
as an organizer.
Right,
Sorry,
right.
yeah.
So in today's world also we still work with the human.
Mm-hmm.
So the simple equation, we have number of manufacturing industries, different sectors and all. We have machineries to work. To take care of machineries, we have people appointed. And to take care of people, we have human resource, we have business leaders, and we have organization who are appointed. So one thing is we still work with the human and their parameters or their value propositions, really values for the organization. On the one side, when you say the organization must take some actions, so my call to the business leaders is that be open and honest to your work culture, where your team member feels valued, where your team members feels respected, they feel that they have been counted as a part of employee, they have been counted as a part of your organization. And that's when the basic engagement it starts building. And the next
Hmm.
connect, it starts from your one to one connect with an employee. It simply described
Interaction.
as the well-being connect. It's not only how you have been and how you are into your work. It doesn't end there. It more of like personal connection, understanding the people values, understanding what your team really requires. And first, on the basic level, it starts from building the connections with the people. And from that's when the equation really starts taking shape. And even it is for the employee as well. The people need to speak up about their expectations, about the goals, what they want it to be. And that's when it goes hand in hand.
It is actually simple, when we pull in machines, we do the maintenance so that it keeps on going. And
Right.
similarly, when we invite people, we must keep them engaged so that they keep the things going. Yeah, right. It is all right. Wow. So now you already mentioned that there could be various ways in how to engage the employees. But I also want you to help us understand what's your advice on how they should strategically plan it throughout the year. Effective strategies, budget allocation, the right quantity or frequency of initiatives from the business perspective. So, what's your take on that?
Yes. So the engagement calendar, it not only the engagement, it comes with a number of things. It comes with the strategic planning of your talent workforce. It comes with the learning and development goals. It comes with the mentoring programs, the skill development programs, and overall the basic engagement of the people. Just to say an example of my organization, so we have 90% female driven shop floor, and the basic engagement starts from the shop floor for us. The majority crowd is from outside of the city. They are living far away from their families. And what something matters to them is like the day-to-day engagement, like not feeling they're out of their family members and feeling inclusive in the organizational environment. So we have drafted the plan. We have number of committees into a place who acts as an day-to-day engagement centers for them, like and celebrations, like small gatherings, maybe an events, and timely mentoring programs. This is like a basic level. For the next level, again, we have some learning and development and skill growing strategies, where we have their current market trends. We have like basic parameters, the foundation level, where every employee needs to have the basic job requirements, the basic human skills that we are coming up. Then the next level is like building them for the future requirement. So for the future requirement also, we have the leadership development program. So in such different categories, we have formed the entire, you say, engagement calendar, or let's say
Right.
an employee calendar. So it is not the fixed calendar, but every year, as per employee requirement and as per the business strategy, it has to be crafted and it has to be like reviewed.
Right. One very basic question. Can there be a one fit for all across industry, across organizations that, this is the formula for employee engagement? If you have these many people, these are the kind of engagement you should do, or this is the amount of engagement you should do. Or is it personalized depending on the organization culture and everything? What's your take on?
I would say that it's not the one set for everything, because the sectors are different, the people are different, and the work structure is still different. So it's
Hmm.
not the same everywhere. But the yes, the basic needs would be same. If I want to categorize it, first the engagement, the activities must be formed on the basic needs of the people,
Hmm.
maybe a resources. So according to people requirement, you can form the basic requirements, which comes into like some engagement activities. Next it comes to like organization level, where manager, the team members, and self-employed, they plays an important role. So you
Hmm.
must have some strategic actions which really grabs the personal attention to the employee with respect to their growth, with respect to their development, with respect to their day-to-day engagement.
Hmm.
And every employee or every organization wants to grow further, right? So
Right.
people don't like the saturated workplace. People love to be like engaged throughout, like we have seen from the childhood. And now the generation, there is a big generation gap, and people require more enhanced activities or more the next level and most easiest things. So accordingly, the strategic actions would take place, where organization and employee would go grow both hand in hand. So it could be a different, but the ground level, it has to be with the employee. So the equation is not exactly the same for all, but it has to be crafted as per requirement.
Okay, so if getting inspired from your response, if I am the HR and I'm trying to, or I'm the L&D head, I'm trying to curate something to this question of how much is too much.
the employee must understand that what really matters for me. It's not like wish list that whatever we ask and everything we should get, but it simply like comes with an self development and the organization development. So that's when I see this as a more strategically handled.
Okay, so and there could be a few things that we as an experienced people feel that this would benefit the team. So how to add that into the journey of employee engagement, and again, so maybe quarter wise, how much is okay and how much is going beyond,
Yeah.
because ideally they need to work also. If we
Yes,
involve too much
certainly.
into employee, because I've seen
Exactly.
some companies in
Mm.
terms of employee engagement, they are doing activities so frequently that their people are frustrated literally. That I don't want to get into this. When will I complete my work and I need to overtime,
Exactly.
overshoot my time. So what could be the real time balance?
I say that once in a quarter would be a nice frequency to have because people have some breathing space, people have time to reflect on the journey,
Hmm.
people have some new learnings, people have some unlearnings, and they form and they are prepared for the next level. So it should not
Hmm.
be so often what I say because people eventually they will lose their interest. They will see
Right.
as a regular activity and they will not form interest in joining every activities, but you
Right.
have the real frequency where people really find out the time, where people feel that yes it is for me and now I have to, this is not the simple activity but it is for me, it's my investment, and that's when people joined such initiatives.
I've also seen the other way around. There are companies who would just do once a year and be done with it. And then they would expect the entire team, oh, we have done something. And then why aren't my people motivated enough? So, what could be the reasoning behind that?
uh, Maybe the once in a year it's not the equal equation you say, or not that fruitful equation, because it I see as only tick mark activity, and the employee engagement is not the tick mark activity, it has to be driven throughout. It's something
Hmm.
like when you get something or some escalations are there and you form some activities, and
Right.
that's something like only a calendar tick mark. But more
Hmm.
of that, the organization must plan the strategies well in advance, that what is my engagement planning for the year, what are my organizational strategies for the year, what are my audience requirements, and what I have to achieve. So basis on this it could not be so frequent, but it has to be with the timelines where people don't feel much engrossed but similarly they feels it is valued.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And again, that frequency, of course, is important, that, how often you are engaged in them. Yes, yes, it makes sense. Right. So finally, just a last question, okay? We've heard different takes on this. Some say and I'm asking you this because you have been talking about people centricity, you have been talking about people values.
Yeah.
So I want to understand your take on this statement. Some say employee retention has actually become easier than ever before. In your experience, is that true? And why or why not?
That's very interesting. The retention is like very lively subject into every organization. I
Yeah.
don't see it's that simple, but it can be controlled. And
Hmm.
where I have mentioned in the starting of our conversation, if people are feeling connected, they won't come for the employee ID, they won't come for the tick mark activity, but they drive the emotional connect with the organization. So once the organization and employees start doing this, then I think the retention strategies also improves. One just example I would like to share for my organization. So we have hired the batch of 20 girls from one of the city, and it was like very starting a pilot batch, and now they are all working as a leaders with a
Wow.
90% retention. And what matters for them, they feel heard, they feel that their decisions have been counted, their values have been counted, their opinions have been counted. And similarly, they have given the opportunity to learn and grow. They have been equally challenged, they have been mentored, they have got the learning and development opportunities. And that's what something there with the organization. It's not only with this one set of group, but it's a similar trend. So for an organization, if you talk about, it's not like we can cure it at 100% that there is no retention. Of course there would be some factors. The people leave the organization maybe because of the environment is not good, maybe the values are not matched with the organization, their expectations are different, or they're looking for something else. And maybe your salaries and perks so different, although different value propositions, but the basic engagement factors where employer also takes care of, so people feel valued and they stay with the organization. That's what something I believe in.
So I see that employee engagement can be one of the tools for retention as well.
It can be, and it is, because the basic engagement starts from the people. The people are your input, and they're your business outcomes are your output, you know. Once you start building, once you start investing on the input, the outcome is easier for you. So I
Sure.
completely believe that you must start investing on the input first, that is your people, and then outcome is what you get.
Wow. I think I have learned quite a bit from this conversation. Thank you so much. With this, I end our talk show, and that was absolutely insightful for me, at least. And I'm sure all the viewers who would get to see this talk show would benefit from it as well, because you've shown practical and real issues and tried to help us solve them as well. So thank you so much for your input. And I just hope you loved the conversation and you enjoyed it too.
Yes, yes, that was like very wonderful conversations, the realistic questions, because not only here in the talk show, but every industry, they have number of questions related to same like engagement factors, and there are number of issues going around. So I think this was like very fruitful conversation. And something I want to emphasize here, that it's not always that whatever the learning it comes, whatever the theoretical knowledge we get, that everything is true. It differs from the generations, it differs every year. So whatever my comments does not stick for the year, but over the year the value propositions and the engagement factors would definitely change. So there is no like fixed equation for the engagement, but I really emphasize on it has to be changed when time changes. It has to be as
Adopted.
per require. Yes, it has to be as per requirement, it has to be flexible enough.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much. I was, in fact, about to ask one last statement for the people, and you've already given. Thank you so much. Thank you. And with this, we'll close our Kirti's Corner talk show. Thank you for being our guest and for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Kirti.